Here we're going to solve the multiplication and quotient of several rational expressions. So in the slide I've color-coded the expressions I'm going to have to break down in the next step in different colors. So the black ones are going to stay primarily the same. So in the first case we're going to say, let's see, set this up, this is going to be equal to. So you can see the first fraction up in the top left hand corner is just going to be 9x squared minus 16 over x minus 4 squared. So in the numerator of that fraction I'm going to label it as 3x, or I'm going to factor it as 3x plus 4, 3x minus 4. And I'm doing that of course by the difference of squares form is what I'm seeing there. In the denominator there's an x minus 4 quantity squared, so as I write that one in I'm going to write it as x minus 4 times x minus 4. So in other words, I'm breaking it down into the two pieces. In the next fraction, we're seeing x squared minus 2x minus 8 over 4 minus 3x. So for that expression, in the numerator, I'm going to do x minus 4 and x plus 2, because that's the factoring of the x squared minus 2x minus 8, and that's now over 4 minus 3x. Okay, now in the denominator we have a couple of fractions, but when we divide by a fraction we're of course multiplying by the reciprocal. So in the next stage I'm going to have multiplied by 4 minus x over x cubed. That's the reciprocal of that fraction in the denominator. And then in the last case I have one more. Can I squeeze it in over here? X plus 1 over 3x plus 4. So I hope that shows up in the screen, but that's the last fraction, the 3x plus 4 over x plus 1. But again, since it's in the denominator, it's now been multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay, so that's our first stage. Now as I come down to the next stage here, so I'm going to write them all a little bit larger so I can see what's going on. All is the same color now. So in the numerator we now have a 3x plus 4, a 3x minus 4, we have an x minus 4, we have an x plus 2, we have a 4 minus x, and then finally we have that x plus 1. In the denominator we have two copies of x minus 4, x minus 4, x minus 4, then we also have this quantity 4 minus 3x, and then we have an x cubed, and then that final piece was a 3x plus 4. So now I'm going to take out my red pen and cross out the common factors from top to bottom. Goodbye to the 3x plus 4. Goodbye to the x minus 4. Almost goodbye to the 3x minus 4 and the 4 minus 3x, but like we discussed in class, those are the same expression except reversed. So I'm going to reduce those, but put a negative 1 here, because when the a minus b over b minus a form comes up, that's a negative 1. Notice that happens again actually over here. X minus 4 and 4 minus x are the same expressions almost, with an extra negative sign in one of them, so I'll throw in a negative 1 there. And of course negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, so this is going to reduce very nicely. Our final answer on the problem is we don't need to worry about the negative, because negative 1 and negative 1 is just 1. In the numerator we have x plus 2 and x plus 1. And then in the denominator we just have that solo x cubed hanging out. And so this is our final answer.